Welcome. Scott here. I will be covering on the character event which will feature a new character FuSoYa from Final Fantasy IV. The event synergy units are FuSoYa, Seifer, Ciaran and Iroha. FuSoYa will be joining the crew with his kit and FR making their debut. Ciaran will be getting his rework. Both Ciaran and FuSoYa will also be getting their force enhancements. We will be fighting 2 Grudge Lord, which has 85 million HP each. The turn requirement is 70. The HP requirements is 10,000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Lunafreya, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Yuna, Iroha, Seifer that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. On the screen I have listed down the key utility that you can consider when forming your party for this fight. The fight features guaranteed kill attacks. The boss will activate Brace Stance with turn warping and follow up with Blood Slash Plus which will KO the target. During its force time, they will use a Malice Slash Plus, which is party KO attack. To prevent these deadly attacks, a turn disable debuff is required. Examples of turn disabler you can consider is FuSoYa, Agrias, Shantato, Camlanot, Raijin, Edward and Aldnark. As you disable their turns, counters will be limited during those turn disabled turns as the boss can't act. Traps debuffs will work better here. Examples are Machina, Beatrix, Trey, Seiss, Kryl, Maria, Minwoo, Celis, Leon, and Firion. Traps that heal are great here as the boss could drain off your HP with Drain Slash that is triggered at certain HP thresholds. The boss doesn't have a lot of HP, it is possible to nuke them past the deadly thresholds in a single FR burst phase. Together with launches, you can make use of a follow-up attacker or damage up utility like True HP Damage. Examples of follow-up units that you can consider are Freya, Kain, Yang, Cloud of Darkness, Dorgan and Cisnei. Units that offer examples of units that offer true HP damage up auras are Lunafreya, Iroha with her burst, Jack Garland with his burst or General Leo. In the event if you need to put in an urgent turn disable debuff, turn manipulation or AoE delayers are useful here. For turn manipulation units, you can consider Onion Knight, Lunafreya, Sid Rains, Aphma, Noctis, and Ram. You can also delay them with Seifer, Selpha, Quistis, Cloud, or Seymour to give you the turns you need to set up your turn disable debuffs. But do be mindful that the boss could warp their turns offer once you passed a threshold. As we are no longer have Lufania Plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If you don't bring any force chargers, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss will apply an aura that reduces your party's brave damage down by 50%. When the force gauge is equal or greater than 50%, it will further reduce your party brave damage by 80%. When the force gauge is equal or greater than 60%, it will further reduce your party attack by 80%. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, the main boss will use its force ability, Gathering Strength. The boss force ability, Gathering Strength, is a non-attacking ability. Upon trigger it, the boss turn will become instantaneous. Upon using the force ability, the boss will enter into its force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 6 on its gauge. When the force time is activated, the boss will use Malice Sword ++, which is a buff dispel, guaranteed, party-wide KO attack. To prevent it from triggering, you need to use a turn disable debuff. To disable the Malice Sword ++, you need to trigger the accumulated power dissipated condition, which will occur after a Grudge Lord has taken 3 turns during the force time. Now let's go through the fight key mechanics. The boss will enter into its brace stance at the following HP thresholds: 89%, 59%, and 29%. Upon triggering it, you see bubbles surrounding the boss and it will warp its turn forward. It will use blood/plus on its following turn. The boss won't enter into the brace stance during your burst or summon phase. However, it will enter into the stance once you exit the phase. If you didn't disable its turn, the boss will unleash blood/plus, which is a single target buff dispel guaranteed hit KO attack. It seems that blood/plus will target at the unit with the lowest current HP. However, considering that it is a guaranteed hit attack, only the Dragoon, Kain and Freya can survive this attack. You can use a lock call if you intend to use them to handle the blood/plus triggers. The most common method that JP player uses is the turn disable method. If the boss turn is disabled or unable to act on its turn, you will trigger posture relaxed status, which disables the brace stance. Examples of turn disable debuffs are as follows. For paralysis, other than FuSoYa, you can consider bringing Gilgamesh, Shantato, Cloud, Camlanot, Raijin, Agrias, Ash, and Kryl. Do note that some of the paralysis effects are single target like Cloud and Camlanot. FuSoYa can extend his debuffs by 2 with his LD. For calls, you can consider using Shantato LDCA or Kryl LDCA. Do note that Kryl LDCA needs the boss to act before the paralysis will trigger after it act. The other form of turn disable is confusion. Agrias has guaranteed confusion on her Fated Moli command. Purim, Mog and Waka requires RNG for the confusion to trigger. Waka LDCA is an option for turn disable, but it is too RNG reliant to be reliable. Other forms of turn disable also works on the boss. Examples are Camlanot BT or a Bondage of Antiquity, Aldnark's Terror, Edward's Sleep, and Fang's Days. Do note that Edward's Sleep will fall off after the boss received 5 brave hits and Fang's Days will fall off after 3 attacks. Both Edward and Fang LDCA can work, but do be mindful of conditions that the debuffs could fall off. HP Silence seems unlikely to work as there aren't any JP video featuring games HP Silence disablers, Kefka or Arsila. Let's go through briefly on the boss other mechanics. The boss will unleash Drain Slash at the following HP thresholds: 69%, 49%, and 29%. Upon triggering, the boss will unleash an attack that will reduce the target's HP down to 1/10 of their current HP. The attack won't trigger during burst or summon phase, but the triggers will be delayed once you have exit out of those phases. Drain Slash will trigger even if the boss is under a turn disable debuff. The HP reduction effect can be mitigated with HP damage mitigation buff or evade. You can use debuff mitigation calls like Raijin LDCA, Warrior of Light LDCA, or evade with Redia LDCA. Now we have covered on the boss threshold attacks. Let's talk about the boss basic moveset. It can use Blood Slash, which is a single target melee brave attack and heals the boss based on the brave that it dealt. It also grants the boss 50% speed up buff and brave regen buff for 5 turns. Malice Sword is an AoE melee brave plus HP attack. It will inflict a 3-turn Doom debuff and 3-turn Poison debuff. Doom debuff will trigger break on the unit upon expiration of the debuff. Hate Spray is single target magic brave attack where the boss will inflict 50% max brave down and 50% initial brave down for 3 turns. Other than the thresholds attacks, it is noted that these boss have very high brave damage resistances. Deploying brave damage up, brave gains, Brave Battery or using Ignore Brave damage resistances like Brave Cap damage or Rainbow are ways to circumvent it. The HP requirements is only 10,000. Make sure that you have adequate healing so that you can meet the HP requirements. Before I end the guide, let's cover a bit on the featured FR unit. FuSoYa is a new character, so I will cover briefly on his kit before I go through his FR conditions. You will also probably need to know how to use him if you are going to do the ticket challenge. Generally, he is a magic-based debuffer with turn disable utility. He is a decent Brave gain aura, but his S1 Spirit Blast is AoE Brave plus HP attack that grants his framed buff Bless. Bless grants the party Brave Regen, HP Regen, raises the party initial Brave, Max Brave, and attack. His S2 hold is single target Brave plus HP attack with 50% splash damage. The skill will inflicts 1 turn paralysis and 20% speed down debuff for 6 turns. His EX Twin Meteor is an AoE Brave plus HP attack that inflicts 30% HP damage up. The accompanied buff from ability grants FuSoYa attack up and raises his stolen and gained max Brave overflow. High LD Lunar Quake is AoE Brave plus HP that deals full HP damage. It will frame and extended all FuSoYa debuffs by 2. The buff also grants the party attack, Brave and HP damage up, allows Brave gains that equates 200% of FuSoYa initial Brave and raises the party Brave gains. His FR partner is Strago. His FR Omniblast is an AoE Brave plus HP and inflicts a 2-turn paralyze on all targets. During the force time, party will recover 10% of HP damage up capped at 30% of the individual unit's max HP. During the force time, the party Brave gains will increases by 30%. Now let's briefly go through his force condition. 1. Attack a debuffed enemy. During the force time, every unit will get 30% HP damage bonus when fulfill the condition. FuSoYa will get 40% HP damage bonus. This condition is reliably easy to meet considering FuSoYa can constantly inflicts debuffs with his S2 and EX. 2. Recover Brave at the start of the turn will give any unit a 30% HP damage bonus upon taking a turn. FuSoYa Bless provides Brave Regen aura for the party. So you guaranteed meet this condition as you upkeep that buff. You can abuse the condition with supercharging, which will give 80% per turn. In general, it is not a game-breaking FR, but it is a generic FR with easy to fulfill conditions. Overall, FuSoYa is a decent turn disabler unit with good Brave gain auras. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.